Today, I wanted to do a check-in to my year-long commitment to myself. Now, if you've been following me for some time, you know that just a few short months ago, I committed to believing in myself. Now, I don't just mean saying, okay, I have a dream and hoping, wishing, and waiting, but I mean taking risks. I mean doing things that are uncomfortable. You see, we all know about the American dream. Go to college, get married, have 2.5 kids, buy a house with a white picket fence and a dog, work until you're 65, and then retire. But what happens if the American dream isn't something that fulfills you? What do you do? I know for me, I bought into that for quite some time. And then I got to a point where I started to question, is this my dream? Am I climbing the ladder against the wrong wall? What am I doing? And I started to think, if I put so much effort and energy into the American dream, what could take place if I put that same effort and energy into my dream? Now, I'm not saying that when I decided to commit to myself that it was easy, but for a while, those were passing thoughts. And then that voice got louder and louder and louder. And I felt more drawn to my vision and to my dream. And so I started to kind of sample with it. And then I said, that's not going to get me to where I want to be. So I decided that instead of just dipping my toes in, I was going to go ahead and jump in. Now, did that mean that people didn't think I was crazy? They asked me questions all the time. Did that mean I didn't second guess myself? I did often. Does that mean that it was easy? Not at all. But so far, this journey has taught me more than I could probably put into words. And this is why I'm so inspired to continue to bring you guys on this journey with me, because I am continuing to learn and grow. And I feel like these lessons and these things that I'm learning are meant to be shared. So at the time of this recording, what I have been doing is I have dived into a 2.5-week speaker and trainer course. Now, this is not like any small feat for me, because something I've really struggled with is public speaking. Literally, I would rather do anything than public speak, but I realized that that's a skill that I really would like to perfect. I'd really like to hone in and learn more about it. So I joined this program, not really knowing how intense it would be. And it's interesting because last night I was joking with my trainer, saying that I feel like I was being hazed, like in college days or something. But it has been so challenging, yet so rewarding at the same time. What we've been doing is we have essentially been learning different speaking skills, such as anchoring, ways to weave neuro-linguistic programming into our speaking. How to weave vulnerability without losing it all. And it's so cool because it's not like she's throwing us on stage and forcing us to speak. We're essentially stacking different speaking skills on top of one another until we feel comfortable. And it's interesting because I already have done one big presentation and I felt amazing and got wonderful feedback. And I have one more left. And while if this would have been me just a month ago, I probably would have quit the entire thing and just told her never mind and threw in that proverbial towel. But for me, I'm actually looking forward to it. I recognize that this is an opportunity for me to do that thing, that feel that fear and do it anyways, which makes me wonder, how often are we giving ourselves permission to do that in our lives as well? You see, we can stay in our comfort zone and it can feel familiar. It can feel tempting to remain there. But our comfort zone doesn't make room for growth. And if you want to move towards what it is you want, you got to be able to move out of that comfort zone and into that growth zone. When I think about this, I think about planes. So I'm not sure if you know the story of planes or not, but I'm going to break it down for you here. Planes take off against the wind. And while that makes no sense, and if you're on the outside looking in, you'd be like, that's ridiculous. But here's what I know. Planes take off against the wind and they're able to accelerate higher, faster, and in a shorter amount of time, pushing through resistance. So when you think about your vision or your goals or the resistance that you're starting to feel around it, I challenge you to remind yourself of this gentle fact and remind yourself that while you'll deal with resistance, you're still able to move beyond that and able to get to where it is you want to be quicker, faster, and in a shorter amount of time and at a faster pace. How amazing is that? And how exciting is that? For me, I had to remind myself that on this journey, and I'm continuing to remind myself of that daily. So I popped over here briefly before my training, before we dive in, before it's another long day that I know I'll be grateful for in the future, to task you to challenge you to do something different, right? We hear the quote, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. But what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you to choose you. Today, I choose myself. I commit to my vision and my dream. And this isn't a one and done. This is a daily commitment. And I challenge you to join me and do the same.